I'm Tracy Matisak for the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. Although it's hard to predict when the next flu pandemic will strike or how severe it will be, we can be sure it will impact almost every aspect of our lives. As conscientious residents, we can take action today to minimize the impact of a pandemic tomorrow. Planning now and knowing what to do makes it easier if a pandemic or other emergency occurs. While the government will use all available resources to prepare for and respond to a flu pandemic, it cannot do the job alone. This effort requires all of us to take part. Everyone has a role to play in preparing for emergencies, especially something like a flu pandemic. Preparing our family, educating others, and getting involved in our neighborhoods are things we all can do. It's important that we take steps to prepare for a pandemic because traditional government support and healthcare resources may be stretched and overwhelmed. Our care and survival will be up to us as essential services like medical care, transportation, and food and water resources become stretched and less available. So, what can we do to prepare ourselves and our families before a flu pandemic occurs? We should stay informed about what to do in a flu pandemic. Learn ways to stay healthy and avoid getting sick. Create an action plan to care for yourself and your family. Help build community awareness and involvement so everyone is prepared. To be prepared, you should first get the facts about pandemic flu from reliable sources. Then know where to go for frequent updates once a pandemic is underway. For example, check local, state, and federal government websites. Tune in to radio and television news stations. Talk to your healthcare providers about how to stay healthy and for questions about how to be prepared. For more specific information in the Philadelphia region, call 1-877-READY-11 or go online to www.readyphiladelphia.org. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website is also a great resource for health and pandemic flu information. As always, but especially during a pandemic, you will want to make sure you stay as healthy as possible. To avoid getting the flu, be sure that your family eats nutritious foods, gets enough rest each day, and practices good hygiene. These few steps should be followed anytime and are very effective in slowing the spread of disease during an outbreak. Remember to cover your nose and mouth when you cough or sneeze. Wash your hands often with soap and water, especially after you cough or sneeze. Try not to touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. Germs often spread this way. Disinfect surfaces that might be contaminated. Stay home when you are sick. If you get the flu, stay home from work, school, and social gatherings. Stay away from people who are sick. Get vaccinated if that option is available. Once you've studied the facts about an influenza outbreak and are practicing habits for good health, it's time to create an action plan for yourself and your family. It's important to know that during a pandemic, usual services may be disrupted. These could include services provided by hospitals and other healthcare facilities, banks, restaurants, government offices, telephone and cellular phone companies, and post offices. Having an action plan helps overcome these and other challenges that arise during a pandemic. Your pandemic flu family action plan should include instructions for how family members will contact each other if an emergency is declared. Plan for how you will reach each other and how family members will receive care if you can't communicate with them. Caring for ill family members at home. Arranging supervision for children, elders, and pets in the household so parents can continue to work if schools or other activities are canceled. storing a 2-week supply of food, water, medications, and other emergency items, updating wills and legal documents. Let's look at these in more detail. A communications plan should explain how family members contact each other during an emergency. Remember that it may be easier to make a long-distance phone call than to call across town, so an out-of-town contact should be included. Write down important phone numbers and make sure everyone keeps a copy in their wallet, purse, or backpack. As part of your family action plan, talk to family members and loved ones about how they will be cared for if they get sick and what supplies will be needed for that care. Sick family members should be separated from others in the home, and their personal items should be cleaned separately. Arranging childcare is another part of the family action plan. During a pandemic, school and daycare centers may close to limit the spread of disease and help prevent children from getting sick. Other school-related activities like clubs, sports, and after-school programs might also be canceled. School and daycare center closings could happen very early in a pandemic and may occur on short notice. It's important to determine now who can care for your children at home during an emergency. In a pandemic, businesses and public gathering places like arenas, restaurants, and shopping centers also will likely close for a period of time, perhaps several weeks. If you've planned ahead, you'll have what you need to stay at home and minimize your flu virus exposure. Having enough food, water, and medical supplies during an emergency is essential for your family's health and comfort. These are a few of the basics you should have on hand. A 2-week supply of food and water for everyone in the home. Don't forget food and water for your pets, too. Store food that doesn't require water or cooking. Canned meat, fruits, and vegetables are some good choices. Dried fruit, crackers, cereal, and peanut butter are others. In addition to bottled water, canned or bottled juices and baby formula are wise choices. Keep a supply of non-prescription medications on hand, including pain relievers, stomach remedies, cough and cold medicines, vitamins, and fluids to help prevent dehydration. Talk to your doctor now about having an extra supply of prescription medications if possible, or keep an updated list of your medications in your purse or wallet. Although we don't like to think about losing a family member or our own life, the possibility exists when a flu pandemic strikes. To minimize anxiety and stress in the event of a death, make sure that your family's wills and insurance documents are up to date. The best time to do this is before an emergency occurs. Now that your family's emergency plan is in place, you can help your neighborhood and community become more prepared. During a pandemic, when traditional healthcare, transportation, and law enforcement systems are strained, neighborhood organizations can help fill the gaps. Community volunteers are a valuable resource. Do what you can to identify them before an emergency. During a pandemic, communities will need a substantial number of skilled individuals willing to step up and take action. Look for volunteers among retired healthcare workers and law enforcement officers, teachers, mental health counselors, and people with disaster response training who can provide healthcare guidance, caregiver instruction, and counseling to sick individuals and their families. Ask your school system leaders and local business owners, civic organizations, and houses of worship how they will respond when a flu pandemic emerges. If they aren't sure, encourage them to talk to public health officials and develop a flu pandemic preparedness plan. None of us want to be part of a flu pandemic, but the possibility is out there. You can reduce the danger to yourself and your family by taking these steps today. Stay informed about what to do in a flu pandemic. Learn ways to stay healthy and avoid getting sick. Create an action plan to care for yourself and your family if a pandemic occurs. Help build community awareness and involvement so everyone is prepared. The City of Philadelphia and its government agencies participate in an ongoing action plan to keep our citizens informed and prepared in the event of an influenza pandemic. If you want to know more about preparing yourself and your family, visit www.phila.gov/health and www.flu.gov.